Yeah, man. So I want to dive into the, Mac J story. A little bit about it. You feel me? True story and all that type of shit. Minus the beef and all that. Because a lot of people think I be being biased and all that type of shit about this type of topic. So I'm going to just get straight to the point. But the question always asked is like, you feel me? Like, where is he from? And he said it, in many interviews and all that type of shit. You feel me? He from the north, which he is. But people always ask, is he from the manors and all that type of shit? But, he's not. But, he was fucking with niggas and all that type of shit. But I'm going to get more into that. But to my knowledge, you feel me? He's from the Arden area, specifically part of the north, and all that type of shit. But, I used to listen to like Mac J 2016 type shit when he was the face, of True Story. Still is, but when it was just him. Like I used to listen to like his song cuz he had a tape called Ready or Not Part 1 and Part 2, and specifically had an intro to the Tonight DJ Quick song, but he had that instrumental, nigga, and that's what really got me like into his shit. I really liked it that nigga was going hard, and then I just was like into the tape, the part 2, and just used to be slapping that and shit. And he had a different sound for what was going on, especially around that time, like around that time when Sax sound was just straight gangster, straight kill, and all that type of shit. And he was more swaggy with it, and just his own sound, drugs, pushing, and hustling, and that struggle and all that type of shit was just different to me, and that's what caught my ear to it, just to want to hear something different. But he even had a lot of collabs back then. He even had a lot of collabs back then, and and that was like 2015. He had a song on that Ready or Not, called Deeper. And that was with T Netty, Liquor Store, and the Gantlin, and niggas like that. And I liked it. I liked that song too. But that part 2, Ready or Not, was like 2014 and all that type of shit. So that's when I used to like be off of Mac J and shit, when I like caught wind of him. But back to the the question that a lot of people ask, like, is he was from the manors? But the confusion really was, because he used to rock with niggas and all that type of shit. And I could say like niggas was sponsoring and shit, and just to my knowledge, you feel me? But he had a video back in 2016 called Hangout, and that video was a lot of the homies and all that type of shit. And throughout his other videos, it'd be a couple homies in and all that type of shit. So, as he was going and getting bigger, it just looked like he was from the hood, cause you just you are who you with type of situation. But he always been identified as a North nigga, for the record, you feel me? But I remember he even used to be doing songs with June Remedy. They had a song called Get Rich Ho. You feel me? 2016, and that shit slapped. And that's when he was fucking around with them niggas. Like I said, that's why I kind of like first met the nigga. Like, I think that's the only time I really met him in the studio and shit with June and them, around that time when he was fucking with them niggas and all that type of shit. But he's at the time back then, 2014, 15, on that type of shit, he was produced by, I think, one of his family members or one of the niggas in this group or his little brother, actually, I think. You feel me? The Daddy Rhyme beats, them was hard. You feel me? I really liked it, that the beats and all the type of shit. And I remember I used to try to tap in with dude beats and shit, cause that nigga shit was hard and it was just different, from what was going on. And I was just into his beats and all that type of shit. So he had a whole production team and just doing his own thing. So that gave him a way to carve his own lane in the game. And this is like pre-fame, you feel me? But it was even times that, like, because we used to be friends on Facebook a couple years back. I had a couple Facebooks, so a lot of them was getting deleted, but we used to be friends on Facebook and all that type of shit. And, it's times he wanted to actually quit rap and all that type of shit. And, and I think that just come with every artist that really love rap at a point to where, you putting in so much work, but you're not getting the results that you feel like you're getting. So, every rapper that love to rap come to them points to where they be like, fuck this shit. But he really just kept pushing, you feel me? He was getting good comments, and all that type of shit, feedback, and telling them to keep pushing and keep going and shit like that. I used to tap in with him maybe once or twice, and just tell him, keep pushing and shit. I thought it was tight, even if he don't remember, but I do, you feel me? But like I was saying, like, he was one of them rappers to me that just loved to rap. Like, that's how I used to think about the nigga music and shit, because he used to have really no futures, just hella singles by itself. And now, even up to this point, fast forward 2020, 2021, and all that type of shit, the nigga be dropping a lot of singles. And now he's like famous now, so now he's really got to that point to where, he only can go forward and getting the push he need and feedback he need from his fans and all that type of shit, and got a fan base. And as far as his fan base, like, speaking on that, I think he got more of a fan base outside of Sacramento. Like, as far as True Story, the whole movement, like, more of his core fan base is outside of Sacramento and via internet type shit, until he really get like the shows and all everything start kind of opening back up, and he able to get the shows he need and all that type of shit to get over the top. Because like I said once before, like, the homies and all that shit was rocking with the movement. That's how I even really started catching wind of it. And a lot of his sweaters used to be everywhere. I used to see True Story all over the place and shit. CDs and all that type of shit. The name itself was really big over the city. Like, and that's what really just made me think, like, he had the potential for the show to be big, whether he knew it or not. But it's things like that that I used to just see as being an artist myself, and just being just exuberant, and just seeing the effects that, that people could have without even knowing it. Because these are at times that he felt like he didn't even want to rap and all that type of shit. And I used to just see, like, True Story everywhere. Old people at a 7-Eleven. It could be in Highlands. It could be, South somewhere, or just a little kid, or just shit like that. I'm like, that dude really got product out there, and he really pushing. But, when you feel like your city ain't got your back and your best interest, then you feel like you can't make it beyond that point. Especially when, it was just a whole nother movement already going on, and they shit really was getting all the light, and they shit popping, super popping, you feel me? You want to be part of that, not that circle, but just in that voice, you know, that just to be talked of in that fashion, you feel me, and all that type of shit. When you putting in a lot of work yourself, even by yourself, when you really rapping and putting in more work than mostly anybody by yourself, you feel like you putting in work when you putting in work by yourself, you just feel like you rapping more than anybody. You feel me? And you want to be appreciated and have that name in the game. But, you know, as far as them like him like going, you know, doing his own thing outside of the homies and, you know, June, all after that shit, you know, he just kept pushing. That's what I really liked it about him as a person and just the artist and just the hunger, just to want more. And true story, just thinking about his brand and all that type of shit and keeping it pushing, you know. So that's what I think what a lot of people, younger artists and solo artists especially, could kind of learn from his story. You feel me? Because that's a nigga that really had a movement, big movement behind like a lot of the parts of the North was on that. You feel me? True story shit. I used to see it everywhere. Niggas was on that. And other places, because it wasn't being pushed as a gang. So that made a major difference. It wasn't getting pushed as a gang. It was actually getting pushed as a label. And the music was there to back it, the production and the work. You know, he used to do a lot of shit through Rap Shack and all that type of shit. And he was getting them interviews and all that type of shit. And me just guessing, he probably knew a lot of people outside of the North and all that type of shit. So people, I used to see that shit, East, South, all that type of shit. Because you won't get hurt, you know, around that time, you know, early, you know, 2014, earlier on in the movement and shit before the fame. Because, you know, fame come with hate and all that type of shit. And now I think he just even got more of just eager just to keep pushing and keep his foot on the pedal. You feel me? From once feeling like, you know, everybody was fucking with his shit, and then to feeling like, you know, just being hated, you know, and outcast by his own city. You feel me? But it's bigger than that, you know, the wave is always bigger than that, especially outside of the city when you getting that support you need. You know, you gonna push. The nigga got a lot of Instagram followers and, you know, he got a channel, supported it by the people, you know, on behalf of his bro, you know, to keep his shit lit and keep it live. So that's a good look. And, you know, I believe that shit can go far. It can be good for him. As long as you keep working, keep getting in interviews, keep being in that spot that he need to be in. So I'm just wanting to touch on it, you know, minus the bullshit and all that shit, you know. Even though, you know, if he ain't always feeling things I say about, you know, the true story shit, which I ain't disrespecting or none of that type of shit, but, you know, it could not be in the interest of his ears or whatever, or, you know, and shit like that. But I still wish more power to him. You know, it ain't no ill will or none of that type of shit. This ain't no bias. So, you know, that this is what it is. Just sending my, you know, my support to the Sacramento artist. You know, I believe he can make it to the top, you know, especially coming from being hungry. I really seen that, and, you know, just pushing over all these years. It took a good 4-5 years, you feel me, for a nigga to really get the light. And, you know, niggas just want to see that going beyond at this point. So, and now that I'm thinking, you know, I might like do like Mac J before the fame, like video clips and shit like that, just to show y'all his progress and all that type of shit, to even, you know, more back everything I'm saying, and just, you know, to shine light on the difference of being consistent and persistent and not just giving up on your dreams and turning your goals and your hobbies into something bigger. You feel me? Into success and fame and all that type of shit, and just trying to get the notoriety. Because he got everything he need. He got all the ammo he need to be able to get to the top. With the Sacramento Street Wars, you feel me? Tapping out. Till next time, you feel me?